Yo, 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 yo. Back again with another live stream live on YouTube, TikTok, I hope. Yep, TikTok and Instagram. Back again with another one. Does morality exist? Love to hear you guys' thoughts on what you believe morality is. I did a video, I think, last week about the moral argument, a short story about a 5-6 minute film that I made on the moral argument. And I was getting quite a few people in the comments saying that morality does not exist, truth does not exist. As crazy as that sounds, when I say that out loud, I can't help but smile with an internal sort of laughter. Some people believe that morality does not exist. Okay. Some people deny the reality of morality. They deny that truth exists. And that's fine. All I ask is for those who believe that morality does not exist is proof, evidence. I want to know what your reason is. What is your reason for not believing that morality exists? Okay. So I'm just setting up the TikTok here. So now we're live on TikTok finally. So right. So some people don't believe that morality exists. I'd love to hear your opinions. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love you to join the stream, actually. Why you believe morality does not exist. And this is in reference to a short film video that I made. If you guys want to see it, go to the Christian Mandate YouTube channel. Search The Christian Mandate. I think it's the latest video. It was about a 5 or 6 minute short film that I made on the moral argument, basically a case for morality. And there were a few individuals within the comment section, as you can expect, who deny the truth, the reality, the existence of morality. Some saying that morality absent of religion does not exist. Morality requires religion to even be a thing. Okay. And I want to hear from those people. I want to hear from those who do not believe morality exists, or if you do. And I want to hear your reasoning for why you do not believe morality exists, why it is not a real thing, how truth does not exist, how objectivity does not exist. I think the real contention was with there being an objective basis to morality, there being objective rights and wrongs. Some people do not believe that there are objective rights and wrongs. And in the short film that I made that you can watch on YouTube, if you go to the Christian Mandate channel, 5 minutes of your time. It's not like a 1 hour film, quick 5 minute film on morality. But that film is a sort of revelation as to why there is objective morality. And one of the examples that I use in the film was, how would you react? What would you do if somebody was hurting a child? And I don't mean this in a hypothetical. I really want you to take your brain on a journey. And I know some of us went through this exercise in school where we close our eyes and we really take deep breaths and we try and think about what the teacher's saying. So if you want to do that at this moment, do that. Close your eyes. Take yourself on a journey. Imagine someone physically hurting a child. Not hypothetical. Actually hurting a child. And we can picture this child as being a 3-year-old toddler, abusing this child with violence. How many of us would say that is objectively wrong? Or is that subjective? And we can break down the meaning of objective and subjective. Subjective, it relies on a human mind. For something to be subjective, it is down to the individual to believe that thing is wrong. For something to be objective, it is not reliant on a human mind. It is wrong regardless if humans existed or not. And I know that sounds crazy, but objectivity means that something is not reliant on a person. So somebody physically, violently attacking and abusing a 3-year-old toddler, is that objectively wrong? Or is that subjective? Is that down to opinion? Is it down to the individual? Is it down to the culture? Is it down to the country? Or can we just put a line in it and say, no, there is not a country on this planet Earth where such a thing is regarded as okay? And I put it to you that the reason why we can all collectively agree that objective morality does exist is the fact that regardless of continent, regardless of culture, regardless of, I'd even say, religion, we'd all agree that violently attacking an innocent 3-year-old baby is wrong, and that is objectively wrong. Okay? And that's one of the fundamental reasons I give as to why morality is real. And I welcome you guys. Welcome you to join the stream. I want to hear from those who believe that morality is not real, that truth does not exist, that it is just subjective. Like I said, in the short film that I made on YouTube, which you can watch, if you go and enter the Christian Mandate on YouTube search, just search The Christian Mandate. There is a 5-minute short film that I made on the moral argument. It was myself sort of thinking about this topic. And people in the comments were saying that objectivity does not exist. Objective morality is reliant on religion. Absent of religion, morality does not exist. This was some people's argument. And I'd love to hear from those individuals. If you're tuned in on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, love you to go live. I'm not really one to, write paragraphs in the comments. I'll respond to comments as quick as I can. But some of the comments were novel pieces. It was an entire storybook. So I welcome you to join the live. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a mini debate, if you like, on why you think objectivity absent of religion does not exist. On why you think that everything is subjective. I mean, the very concept, when you think about somebody saying that wrong is subjective, that means that if I believe it's okay to murder your mother, you can have no problem with that. You must just say, I don't like it, but yeah, it's not wrong what you did. The worldview of subjectivity is such a foolish worldview. We can't actually live it out. It's impossible to live out. The person who says that objective morality does not exist, that everything is subjective, they cannot have any issue with murder, with rape. They cannot have any issue with terrorism, with racism, because you believe it's wrong, but I believe it's right. It's subjective, right? It's down to our own opinion, emotion, and feeling. And I believe that murder is a good thing. What's your problem with that? That's what that individual can say to somebody who has a worldview based on subjectivity. And I put it to you that itself is wrong. That itself is foolish. We have objective morality, and objective morality is grounded in God. The reason why things are objectively wrong is because God says so. And that's the Christian worldview. That's what I am. The Christian worldview is that objective morality is grounded in God. And that every single human being that is of the right mind, I'm not talking about people who are suffering from mental illnesses, every sane, rational, right-minded individual knows that certain things are wrong. They don't need to be taught it. They don't need to learn it in books. They don't need to watch it in movies. When we come of age, when we see certain things happening, we know that some things are objectively wrong. Nobody needs to teach us about it. And that's what objectivity is. We have this internal, all-knowing idea that some things are wrong. Some things are good and some things are evil. These things are known. Okay? And so I'm welcoming you guys to join the stream. The link is in the... Actually, where is the link? The link, if you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description. If you're on TikTok, the link is on your screen, I believe. Let's just make sure that link's not disappeared. I'm just going to put that link out there again, just in case. Again, we're live on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Just putting on this link in case we have some suitors who wish to join. Again, listen, when we have these discussions, I'm not here to try and make anyone look like a fool. I mean, I see some of these people online that have these debates and these discussions. I'm not here to laugh or ridicule anyone. I just would like to have discussion, whether that is an agreement or disagreement. We can have discourse and we can have that civilly. So yeah, the link is on the screen. Fortunately, it's not clickable. You're gonna have to enter the full thing in, but that you'll be able to join the live stream. You don't have to have your camera on. We just need to hear you speak. If you're bold, brave enough to have your camera on, by all means, join the link. Let's have the discussion. I'm gonna give it another 5 minutes waiting, and then I'm going to react to a video that I think is really interesting, and I get you guys involved in that discussion as well. But yeah, for all those who are joining on TikTok, does morality exist? Is it subjective? Does morality exist, or is everything subjective? If morality does exist, I put it to you that God exists. And I believe morality does exist. And the reason morality exists is because God exists. And every human being that is of sane mind, that is of sound mind, that is of that thinks rationally, knows that some things are objectively wrong, that there is good and there is evil. Okay, so for those joining the discussion, joining on TikTok, that's what this live is about. Does morality exist? You're welcome to join. Put your responses in the comments if you need to, but best is to click the link, join the live, and let's have this discussion. You don't have to have your camera on, just need to hear you speak. Let's just have some civil discussions on this subject. Does morality exist? Like I said, I'm going to give it a few more minutes for anyone that's brave enough to join. Let's have this talk. If you believe morality exists, does objective morality exist? Does morality exist? Is it all subjective? Because the Christian worldview is that morality does exist and that it is grounded in God. Okay? Many atheists argue that morality does not exist, that it is something that is reliant on religion. Absent of religion, some people believe that morality does not exist, meaning that everything then is subjective. If there are no objective truths, then everything is subjective, right? It's down to the individual. If I, as the leader of one nation, believe it's right to enter your nation, kill all your citizens and take all your belongings, you should not have a problem with that because it's subjective. Okay? And it's nothing to do with, well, there's laws in place and whatnot. It's nothing to do with laws because those who created laws were individuals, a group of people who used morality and their values to come up and devise these laws that are applicable to our time now. And oftentimes laws are not an indicator of what right and wrong is because it was once legal to own slaves, right? If you were in Nazi Germany, it was once legal to kill Jews. These are all laws. So laws are not in itself evidence that we should be following something because it's the right thing to do. Okay. And I hope I've made that clear. I hope you understand that law is not in itself a reason as to why something is regarded as wrong. Okay. Right, guys. Again, the prompt welcoming you. Join the stream. Click the link. Come on stage. Let's have a discussion. You do not have to have your camera on. I know some of you guys are shy. Some of you ladies and guys shy. It's what, in the UK, if you're in the UK, it's past midnight. Probably wiped off all your makeup. If for the women, the gents, you know, you probably got the do-rag on and you may not be willing to come on the camera. Completely understand that. Let's just hear your voice. Just get your audio on and let's have this discussion. as to whether or not you believe morality exists. Is there such thing as objective truths? Like I said, we are live on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. 17 minutes in, guys. Nobody's brave enough to have the discussion. Many watchers on, what is this, TikTok? No one's brave enough to enter, to click the link. So what I'm going to do in the meantime, I do have a video I want to react to. And I'm going to get you guys involved in this video as well. Stay tuned, stay watching. And let's get this video up. Just give me 1 second. Going to preview mode. Right, so before I start this video, I just want to give you some context, okay? So, I just want to give you some context. Right, this is a video where one Christian, this lady, Kalia, I think she's quite popular on social media and whatnot, was in a sit down with, I think, 20 New Agers. If any of you are familiar with this sort of content or this sort of style of interviewing or debating, is there could be 20 people in a room, and a subset of those people, based on the prompt, will come face to face with this person, Kalia, and discuss the prompt that she brings. So the first prompt, I'll play the video so you guys can watch it, and I'm gonna stop, give my 1-2 piece, my opinion, hear what you guys think, and then I'm gonna continue on with the video. In the meantime, if somebody wants to join the stream, the link, if you're on YouTube, it's in the description. I'm gonna add it on this part as well. In the meantime, as I'm watching this video, if anybody wants to join and have a discussion regarding objectivity, morality, the existence of God, whether or not we believe there is any evidence for God's existence, I'd love to have that discussion with you. Anybody who believes in God or does not believe in God, I want to hear your reasons. Therefore, that is an invite to theists, anybody of faith, Christian, Muslim. I want to know why you believe in God. If you don't, I want to know why you do not, okay? Okay. Right, that is... just give me a minute. I'm just going to copy this, and then we're going to go and watch this video, okay? This is a really interesting one, guys. Like I said, it's about Kalia, this Christian lady who goes on this panel, goes on this show, where she is met by 20 New Agers, okay, and they each and every one of them has their own questions that they're going to put forward to Kalia, this lady. And she does a fantastic job of explaining the Christian faith, giving a reason for her belief in God. And I think she ought to be proud of herself. So we're going to watch that video. We're going to watch the ideas that New Agers have. New Age is a growing, I wouldn't really call it a tradition, but it's a growing trend. It's a growing belief that people have. So yeah. Get this. Sorry guys with this, I'm just having a few technical difficulties. I don't know why I can't get this thing to show properly. Give me 1 minute. 1 minute and I'll be right back, okay? Right, guys, back again. Back again. Live on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Feel free to click the link, join the stream. Let's have a discussion on whether or not you believe morality exists. Is there such a thing as objective truths? Okay. Right, let's go into this. In the meantime, while you guys may or may not join, what I do want to do is watch this video and react to this. So I have explained this is Kalia, a Christian woman who goes on this panel and sort of debates and has discussions with 20 New Agers. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it, and I've delayed it a bit too long. So here we go. If you can't hear anything, then do let me know.
I'm Kalia. My first prompt is nature and all of its elements are not God. And I chose this because I've noticed in New Ageism and spirituality, there tends to be a very high practice of pantheism, believing that God is in and throughout everything. I think that because the world is created, it implies that there's a creator. And so that's why I chose this as my first prompt. Right. And whoever feels strongly can come down.
Anyone who feels strongly about this prompt, come take a seat.
It's funny, these New Agers, they all look the same, but they're so distinct, right?
Hi guys, I'm
you
Kalia.
just look at them and you know
Christian,
somebody's a New Ager.
And I believe that God created.
I'm talking over Kalia. Don't you think you just look at some of these New Age, they're all women, these New Age women on this panel, they all have a distinct appearance, but yet they all look the same. That you just know a New Ager when you see them. It's crazy.
Created the earth in the beginning. In Genesis 1, it talks about how the earth was without void, it was formless, and the Lord came and he brought order to this world. I do believe that the world is beautiful, it's stunning, you can adore the world, but I think when you look at something beautiful, it should always draw your eyes upward, not to a fascination of the thing itself. So that's why I chose this prompt.
Hi, I'm Sunita.
Hi, Sunita.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Brianna.
Hi, Brianna.
Hi, I'm Denisha.
Hi, Denisha.
Hello, I'm Farron.
Hi, Farron. Nice to meet
you. This prompt actually reminds me of a song that I grew up with. Spirit of God and I will not sing and torture you with that, but I'll just say the words. Spirit of God in the clear running water, blowing to greatness, the trees on the hill. And when I hear that song, I'm really filled with awe and wonder at nature. And do feel that God is there in nature, indeed created it, but the magnificence when you see a sunset or sunrise just fills me with this awe and wonder for the divine. So I would say I do believe that God is in nature. And I wonder what my other women friends think about that.
How exactly, I guess we can get clear on definitions. How would you define God?
Yeah, so I would define God as a superior, all-reigning, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient creator.
Okay, so omnipresent. So it's present amongst all existing things, all elements, all forces, but it is not found God.
That definition was a very good definition by Kalia. Omnipotent, omniscient, all-powerful being. That is God, right? And I want us to take away from God of the Bible or God of whatever. I only believe there's one true God anyway, but I want to take us away from the God of the Bible. If there is a being that is all powerful and all knowing, what do we describe this person as? We describe that person as God. We use that title to describe a being that is all knowing, that is outside of time, that is all powerful, that created all things. We refer to that person as God. Okay, and that's what we mean when Christians say God. That's what we mean. And some may even go deeper and say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, just to make it really clear that we're talking about a Christian God. But when I'm referring to God outside of not bringing any religion into the discussion, I'm referring to an all-powerful, all-knowing, omniscient God. It's a great definition by Kalia.
God is not in nature.
So that was actually the distinction I was getting ready to make. So God is omnipresent, meaning he's aware, he's observing all things, but that does not mean that his nature is the same as nature itself. So God,
Let me know
I
if you
believe,
guys
is
can hear
omnipresent
or
even
not
in this
hear
space right
this video, please.
now. The Holy Spirit was given to believers. So I believe the Holy Spirit is here even now. That doesn't mean that I myself am the Holy Spirit. That doesn't mean that you're the Holy Spirit. Doesn't mean that the lights are the Holy Spirit. It means he's here, he's observing, and he's powerful among the environment.
So do you believe that we are all expressions of God?
No, I do not. I believe we are the creation of
So
God.
God is omnipresent and present and moving through all things, but its essence is not flowing through all things. We are not an aspect of that piece, but it's flowing through all of us.
I didn't
Correct?
say that he was flowing through all of us.
But omnipresence,
Did you hear what I just said? So he's omnipresent. He's observing all things. He's the ultimate superior creator. So he sees all things. He's sovereign. Nothing happens that God is not aware of. That does not mean that God's nature is the same as humans' nature. Does not mean that God's nature is the same as creation. He's distinct. He's actually other than, and that's what's able to separate him as creator.
Okay, gotcha. But you do believe that God created all things, right? God
Correct.
is the creator. Okay, so we can make an example here of an artist who is painting on a canvas and they create this beautiful masterpiece.
Right.
When you see that, do you not see an essence of their being emanating, breathing through that force? You see, like when you look at that can't be replicated because it's an essence of their soul emanating through the work. And so, how can we say that God's creation is separate? In my eyes, creation is not separate from the creator.
Right. Okay. So this new age lady in this pink sort of long dress, the analogy she's given is of an artist who creates a piece of art and saying that they are themselves within that work. Now, I understand that you can create art and you can put your all in it, right? The art can be a sort of depiction of the emotions you felt at the time of painting, right? On the canvas can be splashes of red paint, maybe even shaped in the shape of a knife, sort of indicating that there may be a feeling by the artist of hatred, of pain, of suffering. And so often you look at people who are into art and they look at a piece of artwork and they say, this art is really speaking to me. I'm really getting notions of hatred, of pain and deep suffering that the artist may have been feeling or going through when they put this on the canvas, right? I get that. So the artist in that sense has showed emotion in the art, but the artist themselves is not in the art. And I'll give you an example. Imagine an architect, a builder, who has an idea of creating the most beautiful, exquisite building all of man has ever seen. I'm talking more exquisite than the Taj Mahal, than the Empire State Building, than, trying to think of buildings now. But yeah, more beautiful than any building you can ever imagine. So we've got this builder who wants to build such a building, right? And he builds this building. The builder cannot himself become one of the bricks, right? It's not possible. He cannot put himself in the building. He may be able to put a signature on the brick, but he himself cannot be part of the brick. Neither can the artist themselves become part of the art. She's saying all of this, the artist is emanating through the artwork. Absolute nonsense, rhetoric, foolishness, to be honest. Now, the art can show the emotion that the artist may have been feeling. And again, that's an assumption. We view pieces of art and we assume based on the color, based on the way that the pieces of color have landed on the canvas, based on that shape and the depiction of tears here, the artist may have been feeling sad. Again, it's an assumption. But in no shape, way, or form is the artist himself in the piece of art. So what she's saying is complete baloney.
It is impossible. It is imbued. Creation is imbued with the Creator's touch, with the thumbprint of God. You believe that God is omnipresent amongst all things, and the force flows through us all. So, I can't really see any distinction between, that we are not expressions of God.
Mm-hmm. So I think you're conflating, again, God being omnipresent does not mean that God is flowing through all things. And I could turn
I mean, like you're saying.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Thank you. So I can flip the painter analogy right around on you. When I look at a painter.
You see that? I love that. Let me finish. Yeah, I know you're going to interrupt me. I know you do not have patience. Yeah, I know you just want to spew your nonsense, but let me finish. Let me get my point across. And she was conflating the two, and it's an absolute travesty. Just because God is omniscient and God is all powerful and all knowing and is everywhere. We always describe God as being everywhere. There's no place that you can be absent from God. Okay. That does not mean he is in everything. That does not mean he is inside a rock. Okay. It does not mean that he is inside the soil that we step on, though he is everywhere. And I really hope that makes sense to you. What this New Ager, it's a shame she's not revealed her name, so I have to just keep referring to her as New Ager. I mean that with no disrespect. What this New Ager is saying is that because God is omniscient and is all-powerful and all-knowing, that he is in everything. So you can find him in a leaf. God is in that leaf. God is in that rock. You know, God is in that feces that dog has just let out. God is in there. And it's, when you think about it, it's nonsense. Because God isn't matter. He is outside of space, time, and matter. But he is everywhere. But he's not, that does not mean he is in everything.
Painting, and I say, oh, wow, that's a beautiful painting. That might be an expression of somebody's mind, will, or emotions, but who's the painter? I now want to find the painter. In the same way that if I see a cake that's beautifully designed, I'm going to go, who's the baker? If I look at a child, I'm like, oh my gosh, that child is beautiful. That child has all these gifts. I'm going to look at the child and say, who are your parents? So the point of creation is always to lift the person's eyes upward.
Man, she's cooking. She's cooking something. Now, what she said is perfectly in line with what the Bible says. I'm going to quickly just put this on screen. Quick verse, and then we'll continue the video. What she said is that creation should get us to look upwards at the Creator, not to envy the creation itself, right? Creation, the point of creation is to make you be in awe of it to such a degree that you're saying, wow, I wonder who created this thing. Wow, there must be a God. That's the whole point. Not to look at creation and think, wow, I'm such a God. God is such in me. God is in me. Or wow, God is flowing through that leaf. That is not the purpose of creation. It's to get you to look upwards, not to look at the thing itself. Right, I'm just going to put Romans 1:20. Why is it not letting me show this on screen? For goodness sake, come on, let's do this. Romans 1:20. Yeah. Now that verse, I'll read it in the English Standard Version. It's not letting me show on the screen for whatever reason. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world, in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. Basically, what this verse is saying is that the invisible attributes of God, his power, his divine nature, his love to create, his colossal intellect, which has no measure. These things can clearly be seen throughout creation. It can be seen in humans. When we look at the complexity and the of the DNA, of the genetic code, and we look at the billions and billions of volumes of genetic codex within the DNA that exists in mankind, when we look at that, we know that God has some colossal intellect that has no end. When we look at the human eye and we look at the complexities surrounding how the human eye is formed and how we are able to see from the human eye, man, you can't not but point to there being somebody who created that eye. So what this verse is saying is that throughout all of creation, evidence of God's divine power and divine nature is obvious to us all, so that nobody is without an excuse. Nobody looks at the latest iPhone, which I hear there's one coming out soon, by the way, a foldable one. Nobody looks at the latest iPhone and says, man, the wind really must have been blowing so hard to bring a collection of these materials together in such a way that The camera is just 4K quality. That wind it must have been really windy. Nobody does that. Nobody walks on the beach and sees Jack and Maria forever written in the sand. Nobody looks at that and says, wow. Wow, wow, wow. The waves must have just put the sand in such a way that it's written out 2 names. Nobody does that, right? We look at beautiful things, even ugly things. We look at things and we say, wow, who created that? When we go to the beach and we see a sandcastle, we do not think that the wind blew that sandcastle into position. Okay? We say, right, there must be a child here or an adult here who has put this sandcastle together. Okay? And this is what I spoke about in the last live stream. We have a disposition for causation. Naturally, we are inclined to look for the cause of things. We look for why things are. And I gave the example of my little child who would see a bird and say, Dad, where did birds come from? We are inclined to have this disposition for causation. We look for how things have come about. Nobody needed to teach us that. And because we have this innate, inherent disposition for causation, that is a reason that points to God's existence, because somebody put that there. Why do we not just assume that things just come about by themselves? Why do we not just assume that house over the road was not just built by the wind? Why don't we assume that? Why is that foolish to say out loud? Because we know that things, that creator things need a creator. Humans are created. We need a creator. Okay? Right, so that's Romans 1:20. I implore you guys to read it and try and get some understanding of it. I'm just going to go back to this video.
You mentioned the omniscient thing. If God is all-knowing, then he knows who the creator is. He knows who the parents are. I feel like God is...
And like I said, guys, we're live on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Purpose of this live is to have a discussion on whether or not you believe morality exists. Is there such a thing as objective morality? Or is everything subjective? Is there any evidence for God? What are your reasons for believing or not believing in God? The whole purpose of this stream is to have that discussion. The link is in the description if you're watching on YouTube. It's on screen if you're watching on Instagram and TikTok. Join the link, guys. Let's have the discussion. If you're too scared to put your camera on, it's fine. Let's just hear your voice. Let's just speak audibly, okay? In the meantime, I'm going to continue this video.
Is so much all-knowing that he knows that all of us won't receive a message in the same channel. So sometimes you might find God at the beach. Sometimes you might find God in the rainforest. It's not up to our human experiences or perspectives to dictate how God speaks to anybody. This is how I feel. So I feel like if God is connecting with you in any way and he's actually connecting to you, that's God. Sometimes the human experience kind of blurs definitions of things, but I do feel like if God is all-knowing, then he knows all of what I need to know too. And I'm going to get my messages from him in ways that he knows I can receive them. And if that means just going to the beach and laying down or going to the forest and letting the rain fall, that's between me and God.
So, Farron, I don't
I feel
necessarily...
safe, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that because God has created all things, he uses all things to point back to himself. And so, for instance, like when I'm resting and listening to worship music, that's my way of connecting with God. My dad loves nature. He loves hiking. So when he's hiking, he feels like he's experiencing God in a completely different way. There's a verse in James 1:16. It says, every good and perfect gift comes down from the Father. So meaning experiencing the beach, that's a good and perfect gift from the Father. Experiencing a hike, that's a good and perfect gift from the Father. Experiencing music, that's a good and perfect gift from the Father. But where I think the separation in our worldviews is that you guys stop at the creation and you don't look up to the Father. So when you're laying on the beach, it should be, wow, God, this is beautiful. Let me give you honor and respect because this beach is beautiful and you made it.
Personally, that's what it is.
That's what it is?
For me personally, yeah.
Okay, so we got one of the New Agers saying that, okay, so I guess we can question whether or not she's a through and through New Ager. She's obviously just agreed with Kalia saying that when she looks at creation, it does for her point to a God. It does for her make her look and be in awe of God for creating these things, rather than being in awe of the created. Being in awe of the Creator is how things are meant to be. We're supposed to be in awe of the Creator, not in awe of the created. So I guess this New Ager in black was agreeing with Kalia. But let's continue. Let's see what these
some of
ladies
the
are
things
saying.
they're saying, and I feel like you can't have a creation without the creator being in the creation. It can't be separate. Like a mom having a baby, the baby is gonna have that DNA.
Okay, so this girl, I'm afraid she's embarrassing herself here. This New Ager in the white with a microphone is saying that it's impossible to separate creation from the creator. That if creation exists, then the creator is also part of creation. But it's quite foolish. Let's just think this through, okay? So I gave you the example of the builder who wants to build this most beautiful, stunning, exquisite building, okay? And let's just say it's a house. Let's just say he wants to build the most beautiful mansion that mankind has ever seen, and he has the skill set to do it. This builder may procure the best engineered material, the best engineered bricks, the best engineered double glazing units, and so on and so forth. And he may build this building. That builder is incapable of putting himself in the building. No matter how much he wanted to, he is incapable of doing so. At best, he can put his signature on it. At best, he could put his photo on the brick. He himself cannot be part of the building. It doesn't logically follow. What she's saying is that it's impossible to divide the creator from the creation. And then she used the example of the mum, right? The mum has a child, and the mum's DNA is within the child. Rightly so. But that is a description of what do you call it? Of an offspring, the process of conceiving and bringing forth a child. Okay, my mind's gone blank. Goodness me. So yeah, that is not a valid. The example she's given is not a great one. Okay, and when we look at mother and father, what's the word? My gosh, my mind's gone so blank. I can't believe this. But you guys know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, when a mother and father has a child, they have conceived after their own kind. So they've had a human being, okay? Their offspring is a human, a baby. So she's right in the sense that the DNA of both parents are going to be within the child. That does not mean the parents themselves are the child, or you can find the parents in the child. It doesn't mean that. Okay, we reproduce is the word I was thinking. Damn. So we reproduce and we have children as a result. God, when he creates, it's not the process of reproducing. The process of creating is to bring, when we even look at the word, the definition of to create, is to bring about something that hasn't existed. Okay, to create means to bring about something that doesn't exist. When we procreate, the genetic material already exists. It's within the mother, it's within the dad. So when we're procreating, we're using material that already exists to form a baby, to form a young infant, to form an embryo, which obviously goes on to become a baby. When God creates, he creates from material that doesn't exist, right? Okay, so when we look at how the earth was created, according to the Bible, God created the earth and the universe with his words. Let there be light. Let there be a division from the heavens and the sea and from the land, and created all of these things. So when God creates, he is not a part of what he creates. He may create humans in his image. We may bear his image, but he himself, we do not have God within us. We are not gods. We are human beings who one day would hope to be like God. And according to the Christian faith, we will, as we accept Jesus Christ and we live a life devoted to him. It is our reward, it is our inheritance that we will be like Jesus, who is God. And therefore, at that point, we may claim to have divinity. But we are not gods, and you cannot find gods in our DNA within us. So I'm really not sure what this new age is talking about. It's embarrassing herself, and I think she needs to take a breather.
Not saying the baby's going to come out exactly like the mom. Not saying if you look at the baby and say, oh, you're cute, who's your parents? You can still appreciate the creation. Appreciating the creation is appreciating the creator. It's not separate. I can look at the beach and say, wow, God. And God's not going to be like, I made that. Why you glossing over the beach? He's not going to think that. Appreciating that is appreciating him. Now,
Okay. I accept what she's saying there. To appreciate something is by default appreciating the person who created it. Like I said, I was the example of the builder. If I stand in front of that house he's just built and say, wow, this is a beautiful building, by default, not only am I appreciating the building, but I am giving appreciation to the person who built it. The person who built it may overhear me and think, yeah, wow, I did a good job here. So I hear what she's saying, but where she goes with this
but
next,
like when
I
we
think, is a bit-
appreciate nature, when we see the reverence in nature, when we see the God in nature, we respect it. Humans kind of have this superiority complex, like, oh, we're better than any other animal. Oh, that dog, who cares about that stray dog? Like stuff like that. Oh, who cares if I litter? Because we don't see the God in everything. We don't really see the reverence in everything. Even little things like that, throwing trash on the ground. You can also, if you're saying what you're saying, you can say that I don't respect God because I littered. He made this and he just threw it on it. So I don't think they're separate. I think two things can be true at once. God can be in everything and you can still appreciate the creation while appreciating the creator.
Are you guys familiar with the concept of Imago Dei?
Yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I think you guys can watch the full video. What is it? An hour? It's quite long. An hour, almost just under 2 hours. Gonna end it there. I think it's important to understand that we are created, and this universe is created. And I'd like to tie this in with God and how God created us, but didn't create Jesus. When we look at Jesus Christ being the Son of God, the Bible declares that Jesus Christ is the begotten Son of God. When we look at that word begotten is the root word is beget. Okay, so when we look at the word beget, the begotten Son of God, Jesus Christ, when you can only beget after your own kind. C.S. Lewis says this. He puts this really nicely in a book called Mere Christianity. You're only able to beget after your own kind. God can only beget God. Human beings, we can only make humans. We can't make crocodiles. We can't make frogs. We can only make another human being. We can only beget our own kind. God can only beget God. So when the Bible says that Jesus Christ is the begotten Son of God, Jesus Christ is God because he was begotten by God. Same as the baby is human because he was made by a human. And I hope that really helps people understand how Jesus Christ is God and how he shares in the divine nature of God. When we talk about Jesus having the divine nature, that's what we mean. He is begotten of God. God bore God. And I really do hope that people understand that concept, because I know there's a lot of contention with Jesus Christ. How can he be man and how can he be God and so on and so forth. And I'd love to address those in some future streams and future discussions. What I like to do is produce content, but do it in a film story-like mode. So I implore you guys to go on the YouTube, The Christian Mandate, and watch the short film on the moral argument. Okay. And that's the sort of content I love to do and will be doing more of, as well as these live streams. Hopefully people can jump on and have these discussions. Nobody's done so today. Take it that you're all just scared, really. You're all scared to face me, the big bad wolf. But in the meantime, like I said, we've watched this video of Kalia, this Christian, facing 20 new ages. And I think she done a fantastic job, man. I think she did a really, really good job. I think she ought to be proud of herself. I've not watched the full almost 2 hour video. I think I've probably watched about 30 minutes of it. And what I saw was impressive. She really held her ground and she really defended her faith, defended her belief in God and how God is not the same God that a lot of these New Agers think. A lot of people just they like to conflate the God of New Age, the God of the Quran. They like to conflate these as all being just one God, the same God. It's not. And I think Kalia done a really good job at sort of distinguishing that fact. But yeah, again, I urge you guys to watch the full video, get a full understanding on what I'm coming from and sort of the questions that Kalia did answer. But for now, guys, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for joining, for the comments, for the likes. One day, I hope you're brave enough to click the link and join the stream. But for now, guys, good night. Take care.